Hot as I'm cold, boy. There's one. There's another big old piece of that roll. This will work quite nicely too. There we go. Ready to rock and roll with them two big old pieces. There we go. Much better. Oh man. All right. Prime rib be good tomorrow. Roaster, that'd be real good. You missed the live last night, Daniel? No, we don't live outside, Bobby. No, I don't drink anything that's got alcohol in it. And I know they make non-alcoholic eggnog, but I don't care for it. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you guys. I'm glad you guys like it. Glad you guys like it. That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. Yep, I'm going to move back. I'm going to change the camera angle because I can't. That fire's way too hot this morning. But it's all good. We can get it fixed up real quick here. We can get it fixed up real quick. Plug the phone up. to make sure. Yesterday morning, the reason I lost y'all is my phone went dead. If y'all remember, no, I'm not on 2 devices. I'm on one device. You can do this with any device. The new update for TikTok. If you've got a device that's got a front and a back phone, you can do this on it. Yeah, it's a lot better. It's the back camera on the iPhone is like a 64 megapixel camera now. It's a killer camera. It's awesome. Yeah, somebody wanted me to tell my story, and I didn't go on last night because I went on, but I was in Walmart doing all of that. So I'll tell my story here in a few minutes. We'll let some more people, let people get in, and I'll tell my story. Tell my story of when we started having issues, and how everything went from there. No, I didn't get to tell last night. I'm gonna tell it here in a minute, Daniel. I'm gonna tell it here shortly. Yeah, your back phone the back camera records the fire, and the front your front camera records you. Once you're Sensei Danny Bolden, when you're in your live, when you start your live, when you first start it, you go into more, and you choose the flip camera option. So that gives you the rear camera facing whatever you're wanting to film. And then you go into enhance and go down to dual, and you'll choose rectangular or circle to put yourself on the front camera in screen, either with a circle or with a rectangle. That's all there is to it, my friend. That's all there is to it. It came with the new update for TikTok. It's very simple. Just make sure when you first go live, flip your camera to where your back camera is filming whatever you're wanting to have the best image of. And then go into enhance, which is, the one right beside more. Go to enhance, and it's the last option on there. It looks like a camera. You go into it, and you can either choose a circle or a rectangle to put yourself in on the front camera. That's all you got to do. Absolutely, anytime, my friend, anytime. I hear you, Mickey Mall. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, the back camera on the iPhone, iPhone 15 Pro Max is a 64 megapixel now, I think, which is a lot better. I think it used to be like a 13 megapixel maybe. So it has been improved tremendously from the last iPhone. Tremendously. No, my tarp didn't blow away. I moved all that wood. I got to stack all my wood up, see? That's the wood I had sitting up by the fire, and I still got my other wood stacked up over there. So I've got to stack this up. I don't want to stack it on that wood, but I got to stack it up somewhere and then cover it up. So I didn't want the blue tarp and all that stuff, right there in the view of the camera with the fire and everything. I just didn't like the way it looked, Didn't like the way it looked at all. What? What are you talking about? Yeah, it's too cold for snakes. Yeah, I've got about 150 foot 150-foot campsite. I've got pretty much the biggest campsite in here as far as distance, as far as how long it is. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Teresa. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Because I think it's a troll. I don't think they know what they're talking about. My neighbors ain't come over here and exposed themselves. That's just that is a crazy comment. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, Lisa. I'm actually mixing. The two pieces you see in there now are actually out of that pile. Yep, the two pieces in there now are the ones that are not seasoned as good as my other ones are. Good morning, Leanne. How are you? I hear you, K&N. I hear you. We've been in our camper since August of last year, August of 22, because we had our house fire in May of 22. And yeah, but I'm gonna tell that story here in just a minute. So if you guys got to go use the bathroom, got to do stuff like that, go ahead and take care of it, because I'm gonna be telling the story of all the bad luck and crap that we've been through, and how we got to where we are now. Sorry to hear about that, Leanne. Hope you get feeling better. There you go. Cookies and coffee. Of course we use the amenities here. Don't leave out the part about my mom. You don't know my mom? Yeah, I got rid of him, Lisa. He was a troll. I mean, it's obvious. No followers, and they're not following anybody. So, they just want to come in and make stupid comments to, just to try to make themselves seen. They're just like a class clown is what they are. You got to see me. Look at me. Look at me. I'm talking. Look at me. I'm talking. That's what they do. I cleaned it out this morning, Mark. I cleaned out the fire pit this morning. Excuse me. There you go, Sam. There you go. What's going on, Steve? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, we're fixing to get into story time. I guess we'll start back when back when I was married to my first wife. I guess we'll tell the entire story, I reckon. Thank you for the subscription. Oh no, Sherry K, your subscription is expiring in 48 hours. It says. I'm just letting you know because it's giving me a notification in my comments here. Excuse me. I hear you, AMT. That's awesome. Joseph, I did not see your text. I'm sorry, buddy. What did you say? Thank you, Andy. I did not see you, Joseph. I'm sorry. Well, what did you say on your text, Joseph? Thank you, Andy. Well, thank you, Danny. Sensei Danny. I appreciate that, buddy. Well, thank you, Sherry. Thank you. I was just letting you know because when somebody's subscription is ending, I guess it actually sends me a message in my messages that I see along with y'all's messages and says that. I'm like, huh, okay. And I let you guys know because sometimes we don't know, and if you're letting it expire, that's fine too. It's up to you, At the store. Hang on, Joseph. How was your night last? Oh, we had a blast at the store, Joseph. It was awesome. The kids had a wonderful time. I mean, the kids had a wonderful time. And you folks that actually sent money last night while we were in the store and let the kids pick out what they wanted, they absolutely, that tickled them to death. That thrilled them to death because, the other stuff they weren't getting, until Christmas. So, they actually got something. They got to see what it was and know what it was, and they were absolutely ecstatic. They loved it. Absolutely loved it. Chris has already got, I've got to put 6 batteries in little Chris's Nerf gun, but he's already got all 72 Nerf bullets loaded up in that drum he's got on there. Vols for life. Thank you for subscribing, buddy. Appreciate it. But he's already got it up and ready to rock and roll. And Layla was playing with hers last night as soon as we got home. But yeah, they had a blast, and we had fun too. I mean, it got rough on my back, but anybody with back problems, if you walk on concrete for a while like that, if you got lower back problems, it's going to make you hurt really bad. Yeah, I know you're already subscribed. It just let you extended it. I hear you, Vols. Appreciate you, buddy. All right. Let me go get my pullover. It's chilly out here, but it ain't quite chilly enough for my big old jacket. Give me a second. Sorry, Milo wouldn't let me come back out. I was leaning over talking to Nikki, and Milo just had to get up in my face and push up in my face and do all that stuff. Subscription gives you extra benefits. You'll be able to get, I'm going to start doing subscriber only lives, and there's going to be a whole lot of benefits coming with the subscriptions that we're about to start. And it's going to be, for the price it is right now, the $2.99 is well worth it, because when I start doing all that stuff, it may go up. I don't know yet. I'm not sure yet. It just depends on, what all's going on with it and all that stuff. Right now it's $2.99, and that is dirt cheap for a subscription on TikTok, because everybody else has got theirs at like $5.99 or something like that. But Susie, you just go down to go down to the star. I think it is a subscription. There's a star somewhere on your screen. It says subscribe under it. Just click on that, I think, and it'll take you through what you got to do. All right, story time. I guess we'll start. Me and my first wife, Brienne, were married. We were married for 8 years. About the first year was good. I mean, it was decent stuff, but the last 7 years were really a living hell. Somebody that literally bitched all the time at you. Me and her argued every day, all day, in front of our kids. I mean, it didn't matter. All she cared about was money. Literally all she cared about was money. She made it to where we had to have our own separate checking accounts. What hers was hers, and what's mine was mine. That's how she did it, But, neither here nor there. Back then, we went to a place called Cross. I think it's called Cross Hill. Yeah, Cross Hill Church of God. It's in Creightonville. We went there when we were married. And I really enjoyed it. We actually had a preacher called Preacher Christmas. That was his name. His last name was Christmas. He was a really good preacher. But we had our big up and downs in that marriage, but it was more downs than it was ups. I stayed in the marriage as long as I did because we had children together, and Kelsey and Mackenzie were awesome children. I mean, they were wonderful children. I had a car wreck during that time. Me and Kelsey were going. I was taking her to my mom and dad's house to drop her off, and then I was headed to work. And we lived in Creightonville. Mom and Dad lived in Belton, which was roughly about 8 or 9 miles away. It wasn't bad. But there's a real curvy and hilly road that takes you from Creightonville to Belton, where they live. And I was coming down that road, and there's a lot of blind curves and stuff. And there was this one I was going around it. I was coming up over a hill into a curve. Speed limit was 55 miles an hour. I didn't hardly ever speed or anything like that because the road was so dangerous, and I had Kelsey in the car. She couldn't have been no more than a couple of years old. Maybe she was 2 or 3 years old. She wasn't old at all. She was in the middle and the back in her little inner seat, in her car seat thing, and I came up over the hill, and as soon as I came over the hill, a little kid came out into my lane of traffic on a four-wheeler, and I slammed on brakes, and that was all I could do. The car slid into this kid, and hit him. He rolled up on the hood of the car and hit the very top of the car where the windshield was. And then, of course, he rolled off of it. And the car came to, slid to a stop. And I was freaked out, terrified. The first thing I could think of, because it busted the windshield actually came in on me. The windshield busted into my. I had to put my arm up to keep the windshield literally from cutting my head off, because it was coming in like that. So I put my arm up. It cut my arm all the way down. I mean, all the way down through here. It was cut all to pieces. And the first thing I could think of was, is Kelsey okay? And so I got out of the car, jerked the door open back there, and she was, she looked surprised. Hey, buddy. She looked surprised, but there was not one piece of glass on her. There was glass on both sides of the back seat, everywhere. But right where she was sitting, that area where she was sitting, there was not one shred of glass on her or close to her in that middle seat back there. I mean, not one. And to this day, I say God was protecting her. God had something, he put his arms around her to keep all of that glass from hitting her. And he had to have. That's the only thing that makes any sense, because nothing, not one piece of glass touched her, not one piece. And I got her out of the car, and that was a horrible day. That young man, he passed away. And before they even told me any of that, I was screaming for help, because, the kid was sitting there. He couldn't hardly breathe. And he was not conscious, and I could see him gasping for air, and I was crying my eyes out. It broke my heart. I didn't know why that happened. I was crying. I couldn't quit crying. I couldn't even quit crying long enough to comfort Kelsey, because she was crying too. Because she didn't know why I was crying or what was going on, So, I kept sitting there, and, finally the cops came. They finally did all of that, and trying to remember, I had to fill out an affidavit saying what happened and all of that, and it was really, really, it was a blur to me, because it happened so fast, and they said I was in shock, because I didn't know what happened. The young man, he was 16 years old, Karen. He was a young man. He finally told me, when he had me sitting in his car writing the affidavit out of what happened and stuff, and he finally told me that he didn't make it. He didn't even make it to the hospital. So, I started busting out crying again, and I couldn't understand why that had to happen. I couldn't understand it, and that sat with me for, that really messed me up for years. Years of thinking about that. What if I'd have left 5 minutes earlier? What if I'd have left 5 minutes later? What if? That's the only thing that runs through your mind when something like that happens, because it breaks your heart. It hurts you so much. It hurts you inside to know that something like that happened, But after that, they wanted to know if I wanted to take an ambulance. I said, I don't think I'm hurt enough to take an ambulance. I had all those scratches and stuff on my arm. But I said, we'll just drive. We can drive to the hospital. I don't need to take an ambulance or whatever, because at that time, I think my mom or dad or one of them were already there, because I wasn't very far from their house. So I went to the hospital and, let them check my arm out, and they had to dig a whole bunch of glass out of my arm, basically. And it was awful. Awful. They couldn't get in touch with Brienne. She was at work. She didn't find out about it until she got off work, I think. That was awful, and that messed me up for years. I couldn't get that out of my head. Why did that happen? Why did God let that happen? Stuff like that, you know what I mean? No. I said my mom and dad came and picked me up. They were there. They towed the car. The car was a total loss. The car was total. Um, and I kept asking myself, why did this have to happen? Why couldn't I have just left a couple minutes early, a couple minutes later, and all that? And it took me years. I mean, years to get to the point to where I convinced myself. And, I finally realized there was nothing I could do. Nothing I could do at all. I was not at fault. No, I was not at fault. The kid came out into the road on a four-wheeler. When God calls us home, there's nothing we can do. When God calls us home, it doesn't matter how it happens, it's gonna happen. And it was his time. God was calling him home. And unfortunately, the way it happened was just awful. It was just awful. But, it was terrible. Terrible. But I finally come to realize that there was nothing I could do. I slammed on brakes. I pushed them brakes as hard as I could push them. And the car it started sliding. And, of course, it wouldn't stop because it was sliding. There was literally nothing I could do. I did all I could do to try to not hit that kid and try to stop, But, yeah, of course I talked to his parents. That was another awful thing. They actually tried to sue me for wrongful death when their kid came out in front of me on a four-wheeler. But that's beside the point. That was just them grieving and just being mad because their child was gone. And I can understand that. If that would have happened to me, I don't know how I would. I don't even know if I would be able to deal with it. But my faith in God got me through that, because I talked to God every day and asked God, why did you put, I'd ask him in prayers every day, why did I have to go through this, God? Why did I have to go through this? And, to this day, I don't know why I had to go through that, I don't understand why I had to go through that, but there was a reason that happened, and there's a reason it happened to me. Everything that happens is God's got it wrote. That happened, and whatever reason it was, it was supposed to happen that way, So, all you can do is like I say, try to get through it, keep trying to push forward, and try to stay positive. That's all you can do. And you guys know good and well I was not positive for a long time after that, a long time. But, I still, I pushed forward and got through it with the help of God and my family, my mom and dad and my children, my ex-wife. She told me later on, a few years later, she had planned on leaving me until that wreck happened. And I was like, well, yeah, that lets me know, where your love lies and all of that stuff, because she, like I said, the love of money is what controlled her. And, we can't change people. When people are like that, they've got to want to change and want to have God in their heart, because money rules everything with them. But that happened back then, and that messed me up for a while. But I finally got over it, and finally started moving on, basically. And it was pretty rough. And I couldn't go fishing, or I couldn't do anything without being made to take the kids with me. And we're talking about even taking toddlers out on a boat to go fishing. And having a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, out on a boat to fish, and have to try to watch them while doing that. Not to mention how dangerous that is. Going out with my cousin, even going out kneeboarding, skiing, anything I did, I had to take children with me, because she didn't want to watch the children. She would not watch the children at all. she wanted her time, I guess, you know, and I couldn't get any time to myself, you know, and I didn't mind taking the kids with me, but it was really dangerous. Me and Kelsey had an incident one time. We were over at a friend of mine's house. Me and Kelsey were walking around the pond fishing, and she had to be about 3 years old at the time. I'm sitting there bass fishing, you know, throwing out, reeling in, looking down at her, making sure she's all right. I threw it out, and I heard a splash. I look over, and I see nothing but bubbles coming up out of the water. I look back, and Kelsey's not there. So I get down on my knees. I reach down as far as I can reach and grab her by one of her legs and pull her up out of the water. You know, or you know, that was another really scary moment. There's been a lot of scary moments and stuff, but you know, why would you go with the kids? Because, you know, if you want to go do stuff, you want to go do it. I would take my kids fishing with me. I ended up taking them everywhere with me. Anywhere we went, I took the kids with me. And I just got to a certain point to where, you know, I didn't even ask her anymore. I just said, y'all get ready. We're going wherever. We're going here, we're going there, we're going fishing, we're going skiing, we're going somewhere, you know. But, you know, that was a really scary moment, and you know, that scared the fool out of me. But you know, that's neither here nor there. That was, you know, I grabbed her by the leg, pulled her out of the water, and you know, gave her a big old hug, and was scared to death, making sure she was all right. You know, needless to say, that little fishing trip was over. But you know, I went through that, like I said, for you know, 7 of the 8 years I was with her. I finally got tired of it, and you know, me and her basically didn't have a relationship anymore, and I found somebody that I liked. You know, started talking to them, you know, and they acted like they liked me. They acted like, you know, yeah. I just felt wanted. I felt loved again, you know, and stuff I haven't felt for a long time with Brianne. And you know, I know we had proof that she had cheated on me whenever she went out of town, and working with the company she worked with and all that crap. And you know, I was spending time with somebody else. It was a woman I worked with, and we started spending time together, you know, talking and doing all that, and you know, one thing led to another, and that's inevitably how me and Brianne got divorced, and then me and Amber got married. But if I'd have known then what I know now, whew, good Lord. Because she ended up being she was a crazy one. I didn't know she was that crazy, but yeah, it was something else. It was something else. I mean, something else. We had kids together, you know. I found out that she had cheated on me a bunch of times. And she's the one that left me. When I went to jail for child support and had to do the 45 days, she's the one that got my kids taken by social services and then left the state while I was in jail. And they basically treated me like I'm the one that did it, and I was in jail for child support at the time. I wasn't even there when it happened, so you know, they couldn't blame it on me, because I would never leave my kids home alone. I've been married. This is the 3rd time, Kimberly. 3rd time's a charm, though. Yeah, me and Nicole. Yeah, we've been together since 2011. So we've been together longer. This is the longest marriage that I've had. So, you know, and me and Nicole get along. I mean, there's no comparison to this relationship as opposed to my first 2. I mean, no comparison at all. None. Because me and Nicole, we have disagreements sometimes, but we don't argue. We're not at each other's throats like, my first two marriages, just hollering and cussing and hooping and hollering and just being mean to each other and in words and stuff like that. And I couldn't deal with it. That stuff I can't deal with. And I'll tell y'all guys this, life is too short to live miserably. Life is way too short to live miserably. And a lot of people say I'm trying to stick around for the kids. The kids don't need to see that stuff. That stuff is bad for the kids to see. Bad for them. Really bad. So, it's saying you're trying to stay together for the kids, that is the worst thing for the kids and for you. So, that's something you need to sit down and really, really think about before you put yourself through verbal abuse or physical abuse. Just because you want the kids to have that other parent there that treats you that way. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for them. It's not worth it for you. That is one thing I will tell you guys, straight up from the get-go. Well, when I was married to Amber is when I had the motorcycle wreck and, really screwed up my neck, hurt my back more than it was hurt. And, that's when doctors started feeding me the pain pills is when I screwed my back up and my neck up. So that's how I got addicted to pain pills. And she was a wild one. Amber was a wild one. She had finally admitted to me a couple of years later, that when I met her, she was on meth. And I had no clue because I'd never, until I met her, I had never done anything except smoke weed when I was 29 years old. I'd never done any of the other crap, never done any other crap. And she told me she had done that, and I was like, oh, really? Wow. Because, that's something I didn't like, didn't deal with. I didn't like people that were on it. I was really judgmental back then about people that were on drugs, and, I understand a lot more now. But I was really judgmental. I didn't want to hang around. I didn't want to be around people that did that crap, But it is what it is. It was a lot, the big influence on me, staying on pain pills and really getting addicted to them. Other than the doctors just feeding them to me. When I was with her, I tried several different things. I tried several drugs when I was with her. I never got, real hard and heavy on anything except pain pills. This is bullshit. These trolls. No, it said age restriction. That ain't got nothing to do with drugs. Age restriction is having a child on here. I'm restarting the live, y'all. day. It broke my heart. And you know, nobody should have the power of God on earth. Nobody. And that's exactly what these judges think they have that get involved in these cases. They think they have the power of God to tell somebody they can't raise their children. And that's bullshit. It's bullshit. I never did anything bad to my children. I always took care of my children. And it's just ridiculous. Well, me and Nikki met, we actually met when she was 15 and I was 17. My grandfather died, and my Aunt Georgia lived in Illinois. And Nicole was her live-in nanny. She stayed with her and watched her children while she worked and stuff. So Nicole came down to South Carolina with my aunt to babysit the children and all while they took care of the funeral arrangements and did all the stuff like that. Did all that stuff, you know. And so me and Nicole, basically, we seen each other, really liked each other. We dated the 2 weeks that they were down here back then, and we fell in love. I mean, literally fell in love after 2 weeks. And she had to leave and go back to Illinois, and that really broke my heart. Back then, you know, being a kid, that really broke my heart. And you know, we lost touch with each other for a long time. She found me again whenever she found me in 2011 on Facebook. She found me on Facebook in 2011. Man, I went up to Illinois at that time, and we've been together ever since. Well, Tara, I wasn't on them at the time. That was when, like I said, that was when I was in jail for child support. I wasn't doing no stupid crap at that time. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But you know, and you know, me and Nicole's been together, like I said, since 2011. But as far as the real bad luck when it started, the first bit of bad luck is when we lived in where were we living at? I think we were in Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota's where I tried to buy that pickup truck. All right, we were in Minnesota. I was doing cable work, and this woman had a pickup truck for sale. It was an '08 Chevy Silverado, 4-door, really nice pickup truck, and she was going to sell it for $7,000. And I told her, I said I'd be interested in it, but I'd have to have it financed. You know, I can't pay $7,000 for it up front. But she said I could do that, but I can't let you take possession of it till you pay the entire thing off. I was like, yeah. I said, is that even illegal? Oh, yes, sir, that's legal. I said, okay, well, whatever. I mean, if that's the law, I guess, if that's legal, I guess I would have to do it that way. And in 2 months, I had paid her $4,400 on that truck. And then we lost our contract in South Dakota. The cable company lost their contract. So, I was out of income, and I only owed $2,600, and the truck would have been paid off. So, I actually created one. I heard about GoFundMe. I created a GoFundMe, and I asked, I put on there, I'm going to lose $4,400. This woman don't want to give me my money back. And I need to try to raise $2,600. Well, nobody donated to it. Everybody sent really nasty messages to me. What makes you think you deserve this and that? I said, I didn't. I just don't want to lose $4,400 for nothing, $2,200, so I lost out on $2,200 for absolutely nothing. That really made me mad. Because I had busted my butt to pay her that much money in 2 months toward that truck. But we lost out on that and went back to Illinois. And then we got a contract in Brookings, South Dakota. So I went to Brookings, South Dakota, worked there for a year and a half, something like that. They ended the contract there, and we actually I had a car wreck. Well, I had a car wreck and wrecked our vehicle, so we had no way to get back down to South Carolina, which was where we were going to go. And so we ended up having to take Greyhound. Oh my goodness, a 31-hour drive from South Dakota to Greenville, South Carolina. That really, really sucked. I mean, really sucked. But yeah, that trip was awful. I mean, that trip was absolutely awful. But after that, we got back down to South Carolina. I got back to work down here. Started paying my child support down here. I had been out of work for a few months, and that's when the kid's mom was telling him I wasn't paying child support, and that's why she wasn't giving them money back then. And that was like 2017, I think. And I had to literally show Kelsey McKenzie both my check stubs to prove where they were taking, child support out of my check, and her mom was getting it, and she was still arguing with them and saying, well, okay, yeah, I did get it, but, it's my money, not y'all's. So she was just being really, really rude about it to the kids. Yeah, but Angie, the kids ask for money, you don't lie to them. That's kind of, it kind of don't look good on you to your kids, you know what I'm saying? If you lie, saying the other parent isn't paying you child support when the other parent was paying you child support, and, trying to put a bad light on me, there was no use in that crap. But, neither here nor there. I mean, that's, that was just really aggravating, But I proved where I was paying it. We were doing all right. And me and my mom are kind of similar as far as being hard-headed, and when we think we're right, we'll argue with a brick wall if we think or know we're right. And me and Mama got in an argument. We stayed over there, and she told us we had to leave, and we literally had nowhere to go. So we had to. We actually stayed with my cousin for a few months, and we ended up moving into a hotel to get out of there. We stayed in a hotel for a while, and that's when I was traveling around with Bird Dog Traffic Control, helping. I helped get the whole Aiken area going, and then she shut it down. I guess she wasn't really, I don't think, really vested in it and getting it going for long term or anything. But I was the acting operations manager for a while because the managers quit, and I was the senior manager in charge at the time, and I had to make sure everybody, we had crews going to all the areas we had work in, and I had a bunch of people quit on us at that time because they were buddy with the boss man, and when he quit, they all quit. So it was really handed a I was just handed a bad situation at the time, but I got it, I got it the best I could. I know that match you, but I don't have $700 to get Starlink with. But let's see, where was I at? Oh yeah, I was working with Bird Dog, doing all that, and then we were staying in a hotel with Bird Dog. I'm trying to remember what happened after Bird Dog. Oh yeah, after Bird Dog, I went to work for Mostech, and that's when we actually started renting my mom's old duplex. She lived in it, and she decided to move, and we took over the lease, and we moved in there, and we stayed there for several years. We lived there for think it was 2.5, 3 years, something like that. Yeah, and then COVID hit. That's when it all started going really, really bad. COVID hit, and they cut our hours down to where we weren't hardly working any. I mean, and it was during that time whenever, they had the thing signed in to where if you were behind on your rent, you couldn't be evicted. But that thing lapsed for like a week. I think it was whenever when Trump went out and Biden came in. Whenever that thing had to be re-signed into effect or whatever, it overlapped for a week. We actually got evicted in that week. We got evicted in that week where it overlapped. So basically, we did that. We had to go check into a hotel because I had sold my firearms. I had sold my 85-inch TV. I basically sold all of that stuff. And we went and checked into a hotel because we couldn't find a place to rent. I'm trying to remember. And at that time, I was doing I was mounting TVs and stuff. The thing I was doing on the side. And still I was making enough money to pay the hotel room and all that stuff with it. Well, then our truck got repossessed. My Denali got repossessed. I had an 05, I think it was an 05, XL Denali, the long one. It got repossessed, so I couldn't do the TV mounting anymore because I didn't have a vehicle to do it out of. And that's when we went and stayed with Mackenzie, and I think we were there for like a week. And she had that dog in that room with a refrigerator in front of the door. You couldn't let the dog out that way. They had to go outside and open a window to let it out. Otherwise, they had to keep that room closed off in the dead heat of summer. With no water, no food, and there was shit everywhere. I mean, there was shit everywhere. On the mattress the dog laid on the floor, everywhere in that room. I mean, it was disgusting. And Nikki called animal control because, she don't play that when it comes to animals. That's bad. And I don't blame her. You don't treat animals that way. And I was gone with Mama. Mama came pick me up, and I think I was out putting applications in. I was out putting applications in. And I got a phone call from Nikki saying, well, we got to go, all this and that. And I was like, what's going on? She said, well, we'll talk about it when you get here. And when I got there, I'd found out that her husband, Joey, had pinned Nikki on the ground. And there was a Iowa city cop there, and there was an Abbeville city cop there. Well, Abbeville is in a completely different county, but that's where his dad worked. And his dad was out there telling the Iowa cop what to put in his report and what to do. So, he should have went to jail for assault, but since his dad was there, they wouldn't do anything about it. So they had us, Mackenzie and her boyfriend at the time, had us trespass from the property. So we left and never been back, and haven't spoke to her or any of that since. So, but that's neither here nor there. Who cares? It is what it is. And from there, we went. Where did we go? We went check back in the hotel. And let's see. I'm trying to remember what happened. Yep. And then a couple of days later, my sister said we could come stay with her, which the lease she was under was still in my mom's name. So, I guess whatever my mom said goes in there, even though she didn't live there anymore. She had leased another house and just let my sister use her lease, I guess. And we stayed there for a little while. And me and Mom got into an argument about something. I can't remember. I remember what it was. We were using our food stamps to feed everybody, to feed us and Leslie and her children too. And Mom got mad about something. You don't pay no rent or nothing like that. I said, yeah, but I buy all the food for everybody. I said, I buy the food and feed everybody. I know. So that, in a way, that is paying something toward the rent, And we got in an argument because she didn't like that. She didn't like that I said that. So she told us we had to leave. Hey, how you doing? Merry Christmas to y'all too. So she got mad because I guess because I said that to her and she didn't like it. But it was true. I was feeding everybody, so that was contributing. So she told us we had to get out of there, so we was back to the hotel again because we had nowhere else to go. And there shortly after, we rented a house in Anderson. And the house that we rented at Anderson was, it was all right. It was on the Mill Hill in Anderson, which is not the greatest area in the world at all. I gotta move. It's not a good area at all. It's on the Mill Hill, and there's a lot of bad stuff goes on the Mill Hill. And I was working in Greenville at that time. Working in Greenville, making pretty good money. I was making about somewhere right at $20 an hour. Everything was going real good. Real good. We caught all our bills up. Had everything going right. And I got a phone call saying that that there was a house fire, and that Nikki and the kids got out okay. But you don't ever believe somebody calls you and tells you that. You don't believe it till you see them. I was all that scared the fool out of me. And I take off and go home, and when I get home, I walk through the house and look at it, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I was just surprised. They got out okay, and they were fine, but we pretty much lost everything we owned due to that fire. But ain't nothing you can do about that. As long as your family's okay, that's all that matters. So I told him, I said, okay. I said, well, the Super 8s, we weren't far. We were on the Mill Hill, so we weren't but about 3 miles from all the hotels there on Clemson Boulevard. So I said, y'all get in the truck. We'll go over there and check into a hotel room. So we did that. And a couple hours later, my supervisor shows up and tells me I need to give them my keys. They're terminating me for letting unauthorized personnel ride in the truck. Because we did have cameras in the truck that recorded everything. It recorded the front, the back, the sides. It was one of those smart cameras that would even track your eyes. And if you looked down away from the road, it would beep, and you'd get reported and all that crap. But they took my truck and fired me for taking my family 3 miles to a hotel. We just lost everything. But, what can you do? That's just something that happens, unfortunately. If I had it to do again, I'd have done the same thing. I don't want to work for a company that don't give one flying crap about their employees. And that's exactly what that means. That's all that means. They don't care about their employees. Because if they did, they wouldn't have cared that I drove 3 miles up the road with them in a truck to take them to a hotel when we had a house fire and lost everything. But being in there, I had saved up a good little chunk of change. I had about 7 or 8 grand that I had in the bank. And we blew through that really quick, though. Being in a hotel, paying $100 a night for a hotel room, and and eating and stuff, it don't take long at all. After being in a hotel for a couple of months, we basically were out of money and didn't know what to do. And I had been talking to people, and some folks had helped us pay a little bit on the hotel because we had completely ran out of money. And I had the thought of, maybe if folks help us, maybe we can buy a camper, because we're paying $700 a week to stay in this hotel. It would be a whole lot better to be able to pay, that or less a month for somewhere to put a camper. And we were blessed for folks to help us to come up with the money to buy that camper. And we got it and put it out there on the lot we had it on, and we took it out there, and that's when trolls started. That's when we started having a ton of trolls. Started running their mouth, lying. That's when Mackenzie started her page because, you know, she was still butthurt about what happened to her, you know, getting reported to, you know, to animal control and all that mess. So she started blasting a bunch of lies on TikTok just to try to, I guess, make herself look high and mighty and just get a bunch of followers or whatever. But, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, both of those places we lived at, trolls called both of those places, ran their mouth and got us kicked out of 2 different places that we lived. The last 2 places we had our camper, you know. But this time I told the people we rent from here, they know about everything. They know about what these idiots do. They know about what they say. They know about how they lie. They know about all that crap. So if they try to do it here, it's not going to work, you know. And that's basically how we ended up where we're at now. I know that wasn't the greatest story in the world, but that's what happened. Smoke ain't blowing in my face no more. Thank goodness. I don't think I left out anything. I mean, that's a lot of going through my life in a very short period of time. But I think that's pretty much it. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Nicole reported animal control. Oh, Dale, we do pay it forward, brother. We do pay it forward. Yeah, the fire was started by the faulty stove. 2 of the eyes didn't work on it, and we had told them that I don't know how many times. And you know, something finally happened, and we had cooked fries the night before, so we had a pan of grease on one of the back eyes that didn't work. And somehow it shorted out and I guess came on and got hot and caught on fire. I don't know what happened. I have no clue. But, you know, all you can do is just keep on keeping on. No, it's all good, broster. It's in the past, man. It's in the past. All we can do is push forward and try to look toward the future, you know. That's all. That is awful there. Nice. Or Nick, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That is awful. Yeah, this campground here is these people out here are like a tight-knit community. Everybody here is nice. Everybody looks out for each other. And the lady that runs the place, she doesn't put up with the BS that like what I was telling her about what the trolls do. She says, I don't put up with that. She said, I'll be more than happy to tell them, you know, where they can go and what they can do if they come here or call here. And she said, if they come here, you ain't got to worry about that either because this is private property. They will not come on this property. She says, I will have them trespass. And she said, I'll have them put in jail. She knows about the case that we've got open about the stalking by the trolls. And she said, that's actually good because if they come out here doing all that crap with you having that case open, they will take them to jail. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point. If they come out here, you know, trying to do anything, they're gonna have a bunch of people, you know, a bunch of unhappy people ready for them. So it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. All we can do is stay positive, move forward, and just try to deal with these numbnuts the best we can, you know. That is all we can do. Oh, goodness. I might put a little bit of dry wood on there and get that fire burning good. I put those 2 really big pieces of dry wood on there. I mean, of not so dry wood on there. So we actually get those pieces burning. We need to get those pieces burning good. It may take a minute to get this fire built back up again, but I'm about to do it. All right, where's my stoker stick at? Excuse me. If I can find my fire stoker, y'all. I'm looking for my fire stoker right now. I keep telling you to say rabbit 3 times, the smoke moves away. Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. The smoke doesn't leave because you say rabbit. Yeah, if we get all that burning, get that hot, it'll burn that stuff up. Ding, 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 ding. All right. Oh, goodness gracious. It's gonna be a big old fire here in a minute. I don't need wood right this minute, no. No, Kim, other people didn't purchase it. Other people helped us purchase it by donating some money. That's how. I had some of my own money invested in it too. Just didn't have a whole lot to put in it. We did the best we could do for the hand we were dealt. When you have a house fire and the Red Cross only wants to give you $515 to help you, then it's not the best thing in the world, And all that did was pay for our hotel room for 5 days, and that was the only agency that helped us, the only one. No, we didn't have renter's insurance, Ozark, man. We sure didn't. The lady that owned the house didn't even have homeowner's insurance. And I thought if you rented a house through a realty company like we were doing, we were renting it through Azalea Realty in Anderson, I thought that the owners were required to have homeowner's insurance on it. But, I guess she didn't have insurance on it, so I don't know. But we didn't have renter's insurance at the time. It's just something, I didn't think about. Mary, I have no idea now. I know I paid way too much for this camper, way too much for it. I paid probably double what I should have paid for this camper. I paid probably double what I should have paid for this camper because there's a lot of stuff wrong with it that I didn't know about, and I didn't know how to check for it. And, I paid about 2 times what it was worth and didn't know it. Well, I appreciate that, Renee. Where do you live, Renee? What city do you live in? I didn't say I couldn't afford renting insurance, Stephen. I said didn't think about it. I said never thought about it. My mom and dad never had renter's insurance when I was young. It's just not something I ever thought about.